Hi, I'm Sivalakshmi, working as an assistant professor in EC department at RMK College of Engineering and Technology. In today's video, we are going to see about the introduction to digital electronics. So I'll start the session just by answering few questions which would always pop up in your mind. What is all about? Is it really that important to learn the subject? Do I have any opportunities in this field? If so, now how I should get prepared for the same? And after knowing the information of the above questions, then it's obvious that you will feel the importance of the subject. So thereafter, I'll let you know the contents of the course. So first, we will start on with the first question. What is digital electronics? Digital electronics is a field of electronics involving the study of digital signals and engineering of the devices that use or produce them. In other words, I could simply say it as those electronic circuits which are going to involve the process of digital signals, then I could categorize all those circuits under my digital electronics. So here I have a image showing you the analog versus your digital, wherein in this analog it is a frequency modulated signal. According to the modulation of your frequency, you'll have the digital signals to be represented. So look at this. You will have a high frequency over a period of time. So you'll have a corresponding high logic signal to be produced in your digital signal. And similarly, you will have a low frequency of signal. So for that case, you will have a low logic to be produced in your digital signal. So in this way, you have to picturize your digital signals. Here we'll have a quick history on digital electronics. Prior to your digital technology, earlier days they made use of analog technology for electronic transmissions, which transmitted and received data as electronic signals by varying frequency or amplitude. In the 1930s, the prototypes of the computer were constructed using mechanical switches called vacuum tubes. During 1940s, electronic diodes were used, while these were better than the earlier, but they were not reliable. So the next stage of development took in 1947 with the transistors, which were smaller, faster and cooler than the earlier technologies. Also transistors were replaced by integrated circuits and that got smaller and smaller with the enhancements in fabrication technology. So what is there in an IC? So it is said that adding impurities to your semiconductor material like germanium or silicon will have a p-type or n-type material. So having those p and n-type material together will form a conventional diode. And diodes connected back to back forms your transistor, and group of transistors put it together forms your logic gates, and your group of gates together forms your IC. So this is how when you look into your integrated circuit, that is into a chip, it will take to the core of your semiconductor material. Here ICs are classified based on the number of transistors enclosed within an IC. So if an IC is going to comprise of less than 12 gates now, then it could be categorized under SSI, small scale integration. If an IC is going to comprise less than hundreds of logic gates now, then I could categorize under medium scale integration. If the same IC is going to have less than 10,000 logic gates now, then I could call it or categorize under large scale integration chip. If a integrated chip is going to possess less than a lakh, then I can categorize those chips under VLSI, very large scale integration. If it's more than a lakh now, then I can categorize all my integrated chips under ultra large scale integration. So it is also based on logic gates, the number of logic gates enclosed within a single chip, or sometimes based on the transistors also you can take it into account. As I told you, because your logic gates are nothing but in turn transistors connected together. So it is evident that from the above classifications of ICs, still your Moore's law is alive. Jordan Moose, who is the co-founder of Intel Corporation, has predicted and had a vision and stated that the number of transistors enclosed within an IC would increase exponentially as days goes on. So here is the graph as a proof. Here you can see the number of transistors enclosed in your processor over a period of time. So look at this. Right now, in this era, we are making use of ICs which are enclosing around 10 billion of transistors into it. And also remember, still the sizes are reduced. In addition, I would like to add this real-time application as an example for Moore's law, wherein you can see the images. Just by seeing the images, now you would have identified what I'm going to speak about. It is all about your computers. Now you can see that it has satisfied the Moore's law just by evolving from your room size to your palm size computers. Still, we have few more examples to know the revolution your digital brought into our day-to-day life. Say for example, landline communication systems got into a internet-based communication system ending up into our mobile phones. And thereafter, all your elementary radio navigation into our satellite navigations and all your analog indicators into our digital indicators. And the very best example or the potential example I can quote it over here under your digital indicator is your infrared thermometers. Right now we make use of infrared thermometers, whereas initially we had our conventional thermometers, wherein the difference is the analog thermometers, we have to go in contact to measure the value, wherein in your digital, even in your digital, the earlier version, the digital thermometers were in contact with a person, wherein right now what we have evolved with is your infrared thermometers, which is contactless. So just by shooting on your head, you can find out what is the temperature of your body. So I think you can imagine what a digital revolution we are living around. So similarly, many types of devices have been converted from analog to digital. And here you can see few in your images. So in all these digital devices, information is processed, transmitted and received as long strings of ones and zeros. Here we will see the advantages of digital electronics. Here comes the first, always information storage is easier in your digital electronics, and also it is always less affected by noises and easier to design, and more precise representation of a signal can be done with the help of your digital goods. Also, you have learned it already in this video. More digital circuitry can be fabricated on IC chips. Error management method can be inserted into the signal path to detect and correct errors. If not, at least we can ask for a new copy of the data. Here we'll see the disadvantages of digital electronics. The first comes is your loss of information. This happens whenever we perform a conversion, that is from analog to digital and digital to analog conversion, will come across this disadvantage. And next comes is your in your motherboard. So as I told you and as we have seen already, your single chip can enclose a more number of transistors. In turn, it speaks about your circuits. So as we add more number of circuits into the IC and together more number of ICs together in a board will create a heat energy. So we need a heat sinks to avoid the damage of other components. And next comes is your expense. When compared to analog, digital circuits are sometimes more expensive, especially even for the small quantities. So as a designer engineers, these are the problems you could face in your digital electronics field. All the information provided so far, I hope you would have understood what is digital electronics. And also you would have felt the importance of the subject. So next we'll move on to the future scopes of digital electronics. Here I say that you have a future scopes in your digital electronics field. Since because it makes use of VLSI technology, which has considerably decreased the size and the area of the circuit boards and has enhanced the accuracy and performance of the system. Also, moreover, digital systems have the advantages of data encryption for the communication purpose, thereby data transmission is safe and secure. So all these factors clearly shows that the digital electronic scenes has a wide future scope in this modern era because still we rely on this. In addition to the previous points discussed, I would like to add this also. Here, look at the image. Looking at the image, first I would like to say this is an image which was going viral few years back saying go digital India because our nation wants to go digital. So now you can feel the importance of it. Look at this. This image speaks about the top 10, not all the electronics, the top 10 electronic systems in India which has contributed for 70% of their revenue. So we will see what are they. Mobile phone. First comes is your mobile phone. You should not be surprised for that. And next is your flat panel TVs, notebooks, desktops, digital cameras, inverters and UPS, memory cards and USB drivers, 4 watts AMS, LCD monitors, and servers. So from this image itself, you can understand the importance of the field which we are going to deal with, whereas this course is the base for the advancements you are seeing and you are going to see. So with that note, we'll move on to the career opportunities. So here you can see few entry level positions which would apt for your bachelor's degree. First comes is your application specific integrated chip designer or a system on chip design engineer. Next, you can have a entry level position as a FPGA developer. Also, right now, which is emerging is, and also we are in need of people in this category, that is network on chip level 1 design engineers. And next comes is your IC front end engineers, RTL engineers. Also, you have at times for testing engineers, there are openings. If you are preparing for a core companies, no, then you should have the subject knowledge along with your aptitude skills and your programming skills. Also, you should deal with any one of your tools available like Xilinx or OrCAD or EDA tools. Also, other than this, you have so many simulation tools so as to understand the basics of your theoretical concepts. So few I have listed over here. And when it comes to programming language, nowadays they prefer Python. They are moving into the Python. So please be prepared for that too. At least try to know what is all about. Wherein this course is designed in such a way that you'll have 5 modules starting from your digital fundamentals, and then you'll start designing one type of combinational circuits and the other type synchronous sequential circuits, asynchronous sequential circuits, and finally you'll let to know about your all your memory devices and digital integrated circuits. And these modules were designed in such a way that it's for sure you'll gain the theoretical basic knowledge about your digital electronics, which would help you in your career. So you need not worry about the topics mentioned below. You'll get to introduce to each of your topics in your later sessions. And finally, the expected course outcome would be hoping that you'll be able to understand and examine the structure of various number system and its applications in digital design. Also, you'll have a thorough understanding of the fundamental concepts and the techniques used in digital electronics. And finally, you'll have the ability to understand, analyze, and design various combination circuits. And you'll be able to identify and prevent various hazards and timing problems in a digital design. Also, you'll be able to develop a skill to implement the combination circuits using programmable logic devices. And finally, you'll need to know the use of logic families involved in the design of logic gates. So from these information, I hope you would have understood what is all about digital electronics. Also, you would have an idea what you are going to deal in this course. So with that note, thank you and let us see you in the next class.